Hi everybody, I'm Bree the Plant Lady, checking in with a weekly garden tour. I am just back from the mountains. I've been gone for the last few days. I'm super happy to see that the garden looks awesome, so let's go take a quick stroll. As you can see right here off of the back deck, the feed tank bed has just burst into action. Look at all those sunflowers. I love these varieties that are multi-branched, so you get tons of blooms. And I was telling my friend who came with us about how peanuts have started to just be self-planting perennials, essentially. I missed some of the nuts here, harvesting last spring or last fall, and all of these peanuts just grew on their own. And you can see this year I didn't remove any of the seed pods from the Asclepias tuberosa, so I have tons of seeds starting to pop up. I'm going to go ahead and collect this and actually burn it so that it would be ready to be packaged and distributed to people for next year. And this amazing yellow squash, I've harvested several first thing when we got home. I unpacked, I went out and harvested. This just continues to grow like crazy. You can see in this bed, that's a lot of peanuts all along the edge here. And yeah, some of the squash leaves are ugly, but the fact that they're still producing reliably is awesome. And this zinnia, the Queen Lime Blush, just continues to knock my socks off. It's such a fabulous flower. Until you see these over here. You see, they almost look like pine cones. They get so thick. And they're just so beautiful. I am super impressed with this zinnia. We'll definitely be gathering seed and buying more seed just to make sure that I always have this available. I haven't used any as cuts because I'm being really stingy to make sure that I get as much seed as possible. Over here on the patio, you can see that the rice is really starting to dry out. And this is actually a really good time to harvest. So I will be making a harvest video on the rice, hopefully tomorrow, because I have another trip and have to leave again on Tuesday. I know I showed you last week, but the Hedychium cornarium, more are blooming. These smell so divine. They did dry out a little, which is why they have kind of this ugly edge to the foliage, but can't help that. It's been really dry here. For as wet as we were early in the year, we are equally dry now. The light right now is just so pretty. I had to show you this bed again. I have to say, I just think that planting late, like I didn't get these things planted until like the middle to late part of June, was such a good idea, and I was so freaked out by it. So that's the main lesson that I've learned in 2021. Stop putting yourself on a schedule. You can see the Treasure Island sweet potatoes are rocking and rolling. That is so dense and beautiful. I harvested a bunch of okra from there. And this is fully covered now. Everything I was dreaming of has come true. This arch, I think it looks so cool from this angle. Training the sweet potato up an arch was a really good idea. I highly recommend it, especially for people who have limited amount of ground space. You still want to grow sweet potatoes? Put in a cattle fence arch. The Echinacea Pretty Parasols is in full bloom all over again. This is about the third time that it's put out a massive amount of flowers. This is definitely my favorite Echinacea of the year, maybe of all time. It's really quite extraordinary. I love that dark color going out to like pale pink to almost white petals. Here's an okra whose fruit I missed a few weeks ago. Look at that monster. This one is from Utopian seed project. Chris Smith, who is like an okra master and master of many plants. I didn't have great germination, but boy, this one plant is awesome. And I love how like short and branched it is. Of course, more peanuts and squash in here. Squash is doing great. You see, this is Goldilocks, and it forms these little round yellow balls. That one's ready to be harvested. There's another one in there. I've just never had squash this late in the season. So usually the borers get to all of it. So there is definitely something to be said for late planting of squash and zucchini to make it so that you can actually have decent harvests. And of course, while I was in the mountains, there were so many pumpkins and gourds, I completely lost my mind. Wait till you see what we brought home. But I'm so happy to be growing the Seminole pumpkin, which is so reliable. And last year I had 52 fruit, so I'm hopeful that I'll have a bunch of fruit again this year. I'm looking for the start of some pumpkins. Aha! I see one right here. That's how they start. Cute little fruits. By the size of this vine, I think we may exceed what we harvested last year. And I was super pleased to see I have a few bird's nest gourds coming up back here. So it'll be a fun mix. So tomorrow I'm going to get to spend some quality time in the garden since I'll be gone the rest of the week. And I'm going to clean up this side of the greenhouse, take out these ugly spent tomatoes and cucumbers. These were the first ones that I planted here, these 100-gallon root pouches filled with soil cube. And I'm gonna tear out these summer crops and put in some cool season. And this border of zinnias looks great, so many flowers. A lot of powdery mildew is starting to pop up, which is totally normal for this time of year. And there's my little kitten, there's Ava Grace. She's pretty happy we're home. She gets to explore the garden now. But you can see these zinnias are really getting covered in mildew. I usually leave them until I can't stand it anymore. I'm certainly not going to do anything to this bed until the sunflowers are finished. And look at this really cool spider inside that sunflower. Coming around here, got some blight taking out this tomato. This is a cream sausage. What happens when plants start to die. Look at this combo, the Evita and the sweet potato vine. And of course over here with the Tithonia and the sweet potatoes and the asparagus and the bananas. This is definitely one of my favorite areas. And these tomatoes in the pots have grown like mad. I've been harvesting a lot of tomatoes out of here now. You can see these bananas are starting to flower. And that's actually the little baby banana. These don't produce like normal fruit that you would eat. But I mean, you could eat them. They have seeds. They're not triploids like the bananas for the industry are. And the long beans are starting to really grow. Big long stalks. See there, they're always fun to have draping across here. Coming into the north side, I have not watered enough. I have watered over here, but not enough. You see this lilac looks terrible. You see, very dry. It's very, very dry. This hydrangea is really quite thirsty. So I'll be moving the hose over here in a few minutes. I have it running out front right now, which is where we're headed. Bunch of hedychiums have been blooming here, more to come. This is Dr. Moy. I love that butterflies are still super active. Lots and lots of swallowtails. The front bed is rocking. So I came home and immediately turned on the sprinkler, and The Seminole pumpkins look good. The squash and zucchini out here are looking less than awesome. But like that one, I'll probably pull out. This one still has some life in it. Yeah, and I see zucchinis coming, which is exactly why I grow them. So this bed is really filling out quite well, doing what it's supposed to do until it's dry, because the poor sunflowers didn't get very big out here. The bed closest to the house, my tropical dream. I feel like my tropical dream has become a reality. And check out those Thailand giants, how enormous the leaves are. And I have some dahlias blooming, finally. These are from Floret, and look at how, look at that color echo of the dahlia and the coleus. That's Alabama Sunset. So see lots of buds. They were the most gorgeous dahlias were in the mountains, and I was like, oh gosh. So I'm really happy to come home and have some dahlias on the way. I bet by the time I get back from my next trip, there will be a lot of dahlias in bloom. I'm so impressed with these. They're a little awkward, but I'm so intrigued. And look at all of the flowers, which will, provide seed, tons of seed. I love how they just line up in a row. That is so cool. Oh, I'm definitely going to be able to have some Thailand giants available for people next spring. Not a week goes past, and I am still utterly and totally charmed and impressed with Snowy Belle Strawberry. My God, here we are, the first week of September, and it has been producing fruit every week all summer long. It's a game changer, you guys. If there's one strawberry you have to have, it's Snowy Belle. So now on to more important things, like hoarding gourds, which is precisely what I have done. I just couldn't help it. They're so awesome. My mom really likes to decorate for Halloween, and I'm going to be down there in a few weeks giving a live foodscaping and containers workshop at Cold Creek Nurseries in Aiken, South Carolina. So I'm really planning to bring these and decorate her front porch with them. And they're light enough that she can actually some of these as she's still recovering from surgery. So I think that's just going to be like a basket of joy. It certainly already has been a basket of joy for me. All the containers out here are rocking. The tomatoes look less than awesome, but they're still producing tons of fruit. Tons and tons and tons to harvest. And the black madras rice. It's just so beautiful. I just think it's the coolest thing ever. If you don't learn anything else from me, so you should try to grow rice at least once. You won't regret it. Very low maintenance. Put it in a pot with no holes and keep it watered all summer. Everything over here is looking good. The Tibashina is about to bloom. And hopefully by next week, these will be open. Can't wait to show you what these flowers look like. They're so beautiful. And here's Kubby. He's been very needy. He doesn't like it when we go out of town. But the garden overall, despite the fact that it has not rained, I think we only got 1/10 of an inch of rain from Ida. And I feel terrible for all the people in the Northeast who got terrible flooding. That was certainly not the case here. Well, I hope you've enjoyed today's short and sweet garden tour. I am going to go in and unpack and get settled in for one night back at home. This travel schedule is feeling a little bit too much like the pre-pandemic life, and I'm kind of freaked out about having to travel so much. But I do look forward to sharing more updates, and next week will be like almost the last week of summer. So the garden will surely have some new things to show off, and look forward to sharing it with you then. Thanks so much for watching, everybody.